brothers and sisters. As we all know, we are approaching the last 10 nights of Ramadan, and this will be the topic of this khutbah. It is mentioned that the Prophet ﷺ إذا دخل العشر شد مئزره وأحيا ليله وأيقظ أهله. That when the last 10 nights of Ramadan start, he would put more effort in worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than the rest of the month. To the extent that he would be up all night worshipping, and he would also wake up his family to do the same. كان يجتهد في العشر الأواخر ما لا يجتهد في غيره. It's also mentioned, Aisha says that he used to put more effort in the last 10 nights of Ramadan than any other time of the year. Now, it's well known that the Prophet ﷺ has said, إِنَّهُ مَنْ صَلَّى مَعَ الْإِمَامِ حَتَّى يَنْصَرِفْ كُتِبَ لَهُ قِيَامُ لَيْلَةٍ. Whoever prays with the Imam until he finishes, Allah will write it for him as if he has prayed the whole night. So it is so important, if you come to Salat al-Qiyam, Salat al-Tarawih, to finish with the Imam and not leave early. We also know that the last 10 nights of Ramadan have contained Laylat al-Qadr. Allah said about Laylat al-Qadr, Laylat al-Qadr khayrun min alf shahr. It is better and more blessed than 1,000 months, which is over 83 years, 1,000 months. And he said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, من قام ليلة القدر إيمانا واحتسابا غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه. Whoever prays the night of Qadr with firm belief and with anticipation for the reward that Allah has set for this layla, for this night, Allah will forgive all the previous sins for that person. Laylatul Qadr is in the last 10 nights of Ramadan. Prophet ﷺ said, تحروا ليلة القدر في العشر الأواخر من رمضان, which means seek the night of Qadr, night of power they call it. Actually, Qadr means power or means value in the last 10 nights of Ramadan. Today actually is the first night of the last 10 nights of Ramadan, the night of the 20th. Now, also Prophet ﷺ said, التمسوها في العشر الأواخر فإن ضعف أحدكم أو عجز فلا يغلبن على السبع البواقي. رواه Muslim. He says, seek the Laylatul Qadr in the last 10 nights of Ramadan, but if you do not have enough effort to do that, then do not lose the last 7 nights of Ramadan. So we say it is in the last 10 nights, and the higher probability is in the last 7 nights, and the highest probability is in the night of 27th. Ubay ibn Ka'b says, والله إني لا أعلم أي ليلة هي الليلة التي أمرنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بقيامها هي ليلة 27. Ubay ibn Ka'b, he was one of the imams and one of the Hufaz of the Quran at the time of the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, and he said, I know exactly which night it is. It is the night of 27. But it is mentioned in other ahadith that it has occurred in other nights. So this indicates that Laylatul Qadr changes from one year to the other, but frequently it occurs on the night of 27th. But it does change. So if somebody does not want to miss this night, he should do his best to make qiyam every night of the last 10 nights. And of course the odd nights are higher probability than the even nights. So it's a matter of probability, but if you make qiyam the whole 10 nights, you will not miss Laylatul Qadr. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, one time he was asked about Laylatul Qadr. He says, مَنْ يَقُمِ الدَّهْرَ يُدْرِكْ Laylatul Qadr. He says, if you make qiyam every night of the year, you will not miss Laylatul Qadr. So his effort is much higher. He says, if you make qiyam every night of the year, you will not miss Laylatul Qadr. And that is a force. But we know that it is in the last 10 nights of Ramadan that he was motivating people. He says, why are you so lazy and trying to find exactly what night it is in the last 10 nights of Ramadan? He is motivating people to make qiyam the whole year. But if we cannot do this, at least we shouldn't miss qiyam Ramadan, and at least we shouldn't miss it in the last 10 nights of Ramadan. Now, of course, we all know that the Prophet ﷺ also used to make i'tikaf, which means to stay in the masjid and to put all your time and effort and concentration into dhikr and qira'at al-Quran and ibadah, into worshipping Allah, remembering Him, and reciting the Quran, and pondering in His creation. So this, which means that you try to make use of every moment of your day and night, this is the meaning of i'tikaf, to come closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a big effort. And the best i'tikaf is to make i'tikaf the whole last 10 days and nights of Ramadan. This is the best i'tikaf. But Imam Ahmad says, لو اعتكف يوما أو أقل أو أكثر جاز. He says if you make i'tikaf one day or more or less, it is also acceptable. Some of the ulama say that it has no limit to how much you can do i'tikaf. I mean the lesser number, even if you do an i'tikaf for an hour, or you do an i'tikaf for even shorter than this. So it would be a good idea to make the niyyah of i'tikaf whenever you come to the masjid, especially if you're going to be staying for a few hours, like when you're coming for Isha, for the Qiyam. It is good to make that niyyah, and not only to make the niyyah, but to act by it, which means not to waste the time while you're sitting in the masjid. If people are coming for i'tikaf and the time is wasted in chatting, this is not i'tikaf. Might as well stay at home. Inshallah, in the next khutbah, second khutbah, we will talk about how our righteous predecessors made use of the month of Ramadan. Of course, when we talk about that, we will see that their standards are very high, extremely high compared to what we can do. But at least we can conclude from learning about how they used to make use of the month of Ramadan, how we should be, and we should try to strive to do something of what they used to do. Of course, when we talk about those people also had families and they had jobs, and the life was even tougher at their time than it is at our time. But they had zuhd. They could live their life with less. That is why they could provide the time that we find ourselves not able to do. But let's see what they used to do. Before we start, a reminder, we're reminded the hadith that Jibreel alayhi salam used to come to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam every year during the month of Ramadan to memorize and review the Quran with him. And of course, in the last Ramadan that he lived, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he did it twice. And it was a sign that this was his last year. Ibn Abbas mentions that he used to review the Quran with him at night. And this alone indicates that it is encouraged to focus on the Quran during the month of Ramadan. And it is mentioned that كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أجود ما يكون في رمضان حين يلقاه جبريل فيدرسه القرآن. That he used to be generous all the time, but most generous during the month of Ramadan, when he used to meet Jibreel and study the Quran with him. Which indicates that when a person does a good deed, it opens up doors to do other good deeds. When we improve our salah, improve our recitation of the Quran, we focus on one aspect of our deen, it helps us in other aspects of our deen. It increases our iman and motivates us to do more. And that is one of the benefits of Ramadan, that if we worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala more and more during the month of Ramadan, it will make us stronger and better Muslims to survive the rest of the year in the midst of all these challenges that we live in. Now, I will now mention how they used to live this month. كان الأسود بن يزيد يختم القرآن في رمضان في كل ليلتين، وكان ينام بين المغرب والعشاء، وكان يختم القرآن في غير رمضان في كل 6 ليال. A man called الأسود بن يزيد. In Ramadan, he used to read the whole Quran every 2 nights. So which means he reads half of the Quran every day. And when did he used to sleep? They said he used to sleep between Maghrib and Isha. This is the time he used to sleep. Probably the Isha he used to make a little bit later than us. That is mustahab. But this is what this man used to do. Sleep between Maghrib and Isha and read the whole Quran, read half the Quran the rest of the day. During other months, but the month of Ramadan, he used to read the whole Quran within 6 days. 6 days was something we can't even do in Ramadan. He used to finish the Quran in 6 days. Now, كان سفيان الثوري إذا دخل رمضان ترك جميع العبادة وأقبل على قراءة القرآن. ترك جميع العبادة وأقبل على قراءة القرآن. Sufyan al-Thawri, when Ramadan enters, he would not mix with people anymore. He would put all his effort in worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala during the month and read the Quran. Also, Sa'id ibn Jubayr used to finish the Quran every 2 nights. When Walid ibn Abdul Malik used to finish the Quran every 3 nights. And one Ramadan he finished the Quran 17 times during that month. It is mentioned that Imam Bukhari, the author of the Sahih Bukhari, used to read the whole Quran during the day of Ramadan, during the daytime hours. He used to finish the whole Quran. So which means he used to make use of every minute of that day reading the Quran to be able to finish within 1 day. It is not an easy task, but it's not impossible. I have seen people who have done things like this. They would read the whole Quran. You know, when I used to read these things, I used to think they're impossible. But when I saw them with my own eyes, I've met people who do these things. Finish the whole Quran during the daytime. And by the Maghrib, he's done with reciting the whole Quran. Now, and also, some friends of mine mentioned to me about an Imam in Qatar. He was from India, and he used to read the whole Quran in a Taraweeh every night. Of course, it's a fast recitation, but during the month of Ramadan, it's a time to gain as much reward as you can. With each letter of the Quran, you give hasana, and hasana is multiplied by 10 times at the very least. So, it is a time to gain as much as possible. Now, that is something that you don't do regularly. Scholars say that you can do this in the month of Ramadan, but it is not something that you can do other times, because you should not recite the Quran and finish it in less than 3 days and nights. Now, but Ramadan is an exception. Basically, the blessed times and blessed places are an exception. They say the same applies to somebody who visits Mecca. He doesn't live in Mecca, but he visits Mecca. So to make use of their multiplied reward, he can, during his stay in Mecca, used to do things like this. Now, other things about their qira'ah and their qiyam. Imam Hassan al-Basri says, he says the most difficult ibadah is to wake up at night and pray. It is. It's not easy to leave your sleep and to wake up and stay up at night and pray. No. Abu Uthman al-Nahdi, he one time visited Abu Hurairah and he stayed with him 7 nights. He found that Abu Hurairah lived with his wife and they had khadim, a servant. He said that each one of them prayed 1/3 of the night. And they used to divide the night. So that Abu Hurairah was keen to keep somebody praying throughout the night. Somebody standing there praying. So whenever one sleeps, he wakes the other one. Take shifts. Subhanallah. كان شداد بن أوس إذا أوى إلى فراشه كأنه حبة على مقلة ثم يقول اللهم إن جهنم لا تدعني أنام فيقوم ونام الصباح. Shaddad ibn Aws, whenever he used to go to bed, he used to keep on turning in bed. They say just like when you put something in a fry pan, it keeps on flipping. And then he says, oh Allah, Jahannam has prevented me from sleeping. And then he gets up and prays. Now, Umar ibn Khattab, he appointed Ubayd ibn Ka'b, I just mentioned his name earlier, or Tamim al-Dari, to be the imams of the people in the Taraweeh of Ramadan. And they used to recite several hundred of the ayat during that Taraweeh. And then the people behind them, because the qiyam is so long, they said, we used to bring with us something like a stick or a crutch to lean upon, because we had to stand for so long. Now, even if you're tired, even if you have pain, even if you're not focusing, you're not expected to be able to be attentive for 4 hours if you do pray for 4 hours. It's not expected. But at least Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can see you standing there. That is alone enough. Well, because Allah knows your intention, why are you standing? Whether you understand what is being recited or you don't understand what is being recited. The Prophet ﷺ says that Allah has special blessings in certain times of the year. Expose yourself to these blessings. If you are in that state, even if you don't understand what's being recited, you are being exposed to this blessing. Maybe more than the person who understands. Because the person who understands has something that will keep him busy. Because he can follow the meanings, and that will motivate him as he's standing. But you are using just your patience and your love to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and your fear of Him. So that is enough for you. Now, it is mentioned that they used to pray all night, and that they would only spare the last few moments, hurry up and get something, get the suhoor done quickly and eat. So basically they used to make use of the whole night. Now, عمران بن الخدير قال كان أبو مجلس يقوم بالحج في رمضان يختم في كل 7. One of the imams used to finish the whole Quran every seven nights. Now, and before we finish, they said that our righteous predecessors had certain levels. There were different levels. They were not all at the same level. And these are the levels in their qiyam and how they used to pray at night. الطبقة الأولى, these are the highest, كانوا يحيون كل الليل وفيهم من كان يصلي الصبح والوضوء العشاء. Some of them used to pray the whole night. This does not only apply to Ramadan. Some of them used to do this other nights. وكانوا يحيون كل الليل وفيهم من كان يصلي الصبح والوضوء العشاء. And some of them used to pray the morning salah, the Fajr salah, with the same wudu of the Isha. Which means that he was awake all night praying. He did not break his wudu. Actually, it is mentioned that Imam Shafi'i did this for many years. That one time he said to a person that for such and such years, for so many years, I have prayed the Fajr with the same wudu of Isha. He has not slept these nights. Now, but of course they used to sleep sometime, but they used to make some time during the day to make up for the lack of sleep. And again, you read about these things and you think they're not possible. I have met people who do these things. I have met a person who used to pray or recite the Quran all night until Fajr, and used to do the Fajr with the same wudu of Isha. And that was his natural state at baseline regardless of Ramadan. And he used to sleep after Fajr just until maybe 8 or 9. That is his sleep that he gets every day now. And the second level is the people who used to pray half of the night. And as I said, this does not only apply to Ramadan, this is the normal state. And the third level is the people who used to pray with 1/3 of the night. قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أحب الصلاة إلى الله عز وجل صلاة داود كان ينام نصف الليل ويقوم ثلثه وينام سدسه. And this is what Dawood alayhi salam used to do. And this is what the Prophet ﷺ preferred. He said, this is the best and most beloved to me, if you want to make Qiyam al-Layl, to do 1/3 of the night. Because this way it's a very balanced way. And you get enough sleep and you get enough salah at the same time. The fourth level, the ones who used to pray 1/5 or 1/6 of the night. And the fifth level, the ones who used to pray without a specific time limit, but according to how much effort they have. Whenever they get tired and sleepy, they go to bed. And the level number 6 are the ones who used to pray something, such as 4 rak'at or even 2 rak'at. Now, and the 7th level, those are the people who used to pray Maghrib and Isha, between Maghrib and Isha. They used to utilize the whole time between Maghrib and Isha in prayer. And again, they used to wake up just before Fajr time, maybe half hour before Fajr, and pray again. This way they take the beginning of the night and they take at the end of the night. And these are, because the last part of the night is where there's Sa'ad al-Ijabah. The Sa'ad la yuwafiqu abdu muslim yas'al Allah fi khairan illa atahu iyah. There's an hour where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give whatever you ask him at night. Last thing, not only did they pray, but they were very generous. I will mention a couple of examples, and then I will end this khutbah. كان ابن عمر يصوم ولا يفطر إلا مع المساكين. He used to fast, and he would not break his fast except that he invites the poor people to eat with him. He did not break his fast alone ever. And then if he is eating with them, and more people come, he would give them his own share. he would give them his own share of that meal, and then when he goes back home, he finds that his family has already eaten the food that was back at home, then he would just fast next day even if he has not eaten. Now, inshallah we'll stop here.